Good evening and welcome to WGLNA Season 2 Qualifier number 2. This week we're going to find out who's going to join us in Season 2 League Play beginning in October. I am Joshua Gray, call sign Clutch, and joining me are two very special guests, the best team in North America from Season 1. It is David Williams, also known as Nagatron, the leader of Team Fulcrum Gaming. Nagatron, thank you so much for being here, man. It's a pleasure once again. You were here, feels like yesterday, but it was actually a couple months ago before we launched the league, and then now you're back.
It's simultaneously both a short amount of time, but it feels like a long time. It's always a pleasure to be here, and especially to be here casting for the first time.
Yeah, and we're glad to have you. But also, your partner in crime this evening is going to be Soviet, the man that talks nonstop about the IS-3.
Best tank in the game, and excited to be here. Thanks a lot for having me. Looking forward to casting.
Well, looking forward to having you guys here and also talking about a lot of these different teams and players that some of us are going to see for the first time broadcasted tonight. But first off, let's talk about this day in history. Back in World War II, September 19th, 1941, part of their offensive campaign in the Soviet Union, Germany bombs and their blast through Leningrad's anti-aircraft defenses, taking out 1,000 Russian soldiers. So that was quite an offensive display with the Luftwaffe, the Air Force for the German Army, and incredible actually to go back and look at all the different days in history, different battles for it's over 70 years now, World War II. That's crazy as well.
Yeah, just recently it was actually the 70th anniversary of the Kursk battle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And also World War I was almost 100 years ago. Entire generation, completely over and gone with.
It's very easy to feel detached from it here in the United States.
Yeah.
You know, one thing when we were over in Belarus, in Minsk, which a lot of people kind of confuse Russia in World War II for Russia as it is now, and the borders are very different. A lot of the war was fought in Ukraine and Belarus, and you feel definitely connected there. There's monuments, and a lot of people know much more about the history, especially the Eastern Front, which we don't know a whole lot about here.
Yeah, well, and it's also a cultural thing too, which ties into World of Tanks. Why World of Tanks is so popular is because Russia fought so many land battles with their tanks. Us in America, over here in the West, we kind of romanticize more of the planes and the infantry because that's a lot more of what kind of we saw, the stories that we saw, especially in our media. But more and more people are learning about tanks and how they were used and how the IS-3 is so good, even though the T-32 has no cons. We'll talk about that later. All right, let's go ahead and talk about today's matches. We're going to have 5 matches tonight. First off, it's going to be Pub Stars versus Red Hot Chili Peppers, then Refuse to Die versus Super Amigos, Forgotten Legionnaires versus the Landing Zones Slayers, Sympasaurus Rex, who we did see in qualifier number 1, versus the Dirty Dozen, and Spurglords versus Warplanes. Did I say that right?
I don't actually know. I was just acting like I did earlier.
Well, I know he's going to help me say Prohorovka.
Prohorovka.
We're going to go over that tonight.
You'll never
as well.
say
It's a long night.
You'll never see.
It's going to be a long night.
I've been trying for months.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about what the Season 2 is going to look like and why we're having the qualifier. So 8 teams made it into Season 2 from Season 1. Fulcrum Gaming, 2 gentlemen here tonight representing that team. We have Simp, Wreak Havoc, Simple Tankers, Scurry Hard, River of Blood, Nerve, and Cunningham's. 2 teams from the Major League 2013 Summer Edition from World of Tanks made it over. That was Bernal Empires and Hammer Time. Then we had 4 teams from Regulation, Simplistic, Half Fascination, Game Over, and War and Peace. And 2 teams from the qualifiers, the open qualifiers that happened, qualifier number 1. The victors were the Cazadores. And this week we'll have 1 more team to join us in the league play starting in October. I'm excited to see these different teams. You know, Pub Stars is a team that we both think has some serious talent. Sympasaurus Rex, unable to really come out with a win. A lot of camping from qualifier number 1, unfortunately. What are you guys' thoughts on these different teams?
Well, first off, I'm very excited to see Hammer Time made it into the league finally. Last year it was very close, and they've been working at this for a very long time. And as with most teams, they're kind of their own worst enemy. You know, if they've lost, a lot of the times it's because they themselves made a mistake and not because the other team necessarily came out and beat them. I'm very, very interested to see how well they do here amongst teams that are kind of more their caliber as well. And then obviously, Cazadores is back and better than ever.
Yes.
I think last season it was a little bit surprising to people who have been playing them a long time. Us and Simp and Cazadores have been kind of 3 of the mainstays in tournaments for a long time, with River of Blood coming in later. So I'm very excited to see how they play out throughout the season, especially if they keep it up anywhere close to they did in qualifiers. And Pub Stars. A little bit of a roster change, but a lot of talent on that team. It's really going to boil down to their execution and discipline, but should be able to see some big things come out of them here in the next couple days.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Cazadores was a big surprise, the different type of play styles they had, especially the Bison play on mines. I'll always remember that. And now seeing them in season number 2 league play is going to be a lot of fun. Sylvia, your thoughts on any of the teams that have made it?
Teams that made it, Cazadores definitely deserve to be in the league. Hammer Time, of course, we have a lot of friends in that team. We have scrimmed with them multiple times, and I think they are in the right place now. They're going to do great in this league. And Cazadores definitely changed up their game plan. They're playing very aggressively. Qualifier 1 was extremely exciting to watch from them, and I look forward to seeing them this season in the other bracket.
Yeah. And what about any teams tonight that we're going to see?
Tonight, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how Refuse to Die fares today. They have been a rather humble team. They came into season 1, didn't perform as high as we expected them, and then they realized that they have issues. They wanted to fix them, and now they're back in the qualifier 2s. I think they'll bring a different game plan this time around and perhaps surprise us all.
All right, well, tonight's going to be full of surprises, I think, with these different teams. And as more and more teams get more acclimated to being really in that pressure environment of performing in a tournament that's being broadcasted live, they're going to get more experience. They're going to have more confidence in a different play style. And because of that, I think they can be a little bit more experimental in what they bring to the different maps. But speaking of maps, let's go ahead and talk about the rule format for the 7x42. So 7 players per team, 42 tier points, 1 point per tank tier, and maximum tier is 8. So the maximum tanks you can use can't have E100s or Mouses. You have to use tier 8s like a T69, T32, an IS-3, etc. It is a best of 5. Now we have changed up the rules a little bit for the qualifiers. What's going to happen compared to before is there's no 8-point rule. So it will be a draw if they do not annihilate the other team or capture the enemy base. But there's only 5 battles. If there's no declared victor after the 5 battles, we will go into a shootout, which I'm sure chat will go crazy for. And also, Airfield is no longer in the map pool. It has been replaced by Cliff. Now, we talked about this map a little bit before. David, I want to get your thoughts real briefly about this map. Soviet as well. Unproven, untested, kind of a wild card in the map pool, would you say?
I would think Soviet can talk about it a little bit better, but to start out, just in terms of strategy, I think it's one that's got to be played fast. If you camp on that map, it's going to come back and bite you. So I think it could be very interesting. I'm definitely eager to see any teams that pick it and what they bring, because anybody who picks it is obviously going to have some sort of solid game plan trying to surprise their enemy, similar to what happened on Airfield last year, or last season, not last year. But I know Soviet's got a lot more experience with Cliff, so tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Cliff has been played in the Russian League, the Russian Golden League, and it has a kind of a staple strategy where most of the action happens on the west side of the map and the east side is rarely used. But when the east side is used, it's quite a surprise, and it's quite an exotic strategy. If you can plan it, you can time it out, you can really surprise a team by coming out around that lighthouse and into the enemy base. We have seen also a lot of cap-outs on that map, actually, because the 1-2 line, if it's not defended, can be an awesome spot for the T1s to advance and get into the enemy base and cap out. So North American region, we have never actually seen it before in competitions. In fact, I don't think we have ever played it on any tournament as a tournament map in the 742 format. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the North American teams have prepared for him, especially in this qualifier, and how we're going to develop the strategy in the metagame.
Yep, it's another wild card again. Looking forward to the freshness of this map. And if you'd like to stay pretty much involved with all the esports side for World of Tanks here in America, make sure to follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, also on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA. And if there's any matches that you missed or any segments you'd love to watch and share with your friends, make sure to go to WGLNA.com to catch all the VODs. And David, how can people catch more information about Fulcrum?
Well, we've got social media up, both Twitter and Facebook.com/FulcrumGaming. Or if you want to catch any of our Twitch broadcasts, that's twitch.tv/FulcrumTV. So can you think of anything else I'm missing here?
We do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/FulcrumGamingTV. So you can check out our videos there, video on demands. And we also have some casts actually from Battle of Berlin and some other tournaments that we have done before.
Oh, and Can't forget the website, fulcrumgaming.gg.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Excited for tonight. Our first battle is almost underway. But before we take a look at these two teams, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We come back. Battle number 1 of Pub Stars versus Red Hot Chili Peppers. Stay tuned. Welcome back to WGLNA Season 2 Qualifier number 2. This week we're going to find out who is the last team to join us in League Play. I'm Clutch, joined by Nagatron and Soviet from Fulcrum Gaming. These gentlemen took home the first place prize. Congratulations once again. Vegas was a lot of fun. You got your money. Are you looking forward to Season 2 to get even more money this time, or are you a little more cautious moving into this season?
I don't think caution is what we're going for this season. Last season, we definitely might have been a little bit overly cautious. A lot of people expected us to win, so obviously it'd be very, very embarrassing if we didn't. But this season, it's not quite the same. All we're very concerned about is trying to up our game and play as best we can. I think we've already established that we can be the best, and now it's just trying to be the best that we can be.
Well put. Also, they have the best jerseys, and there is some open space sponsors. If you want to get a hold of Fulcrum Gaming, you should. These guys are very professional and very, very talented. As World of Tanks continues to explode worldwide, you guys have become pretty much a worldwide figure. I met you for the first time last year in China, of all places, and then now you've been traveled. How many countries have you been to, really, for World of Tanks?
For tanks specifically, not counting the United States, obviously, 2. Belarus and China.
Yeah. And now China again, hopefully. I mean, you're going to the...
Ideally. We still have to play, at the very least, Bernal Empires, which is actually going to be kind of overlapping with the very first week of the legitimate season, but we're going to try and make it work. And, yeah, so whoever wins from there goes to China. Hopefully it'll be us, and then we can... Are you going to be in China again as well?
I will be in China again, yes.
That's going to be very interesting.
You got to bring your American flag. You guys do go.
They may confiscate it from me this year.
Yeah.
Stolen property at all. I do have some funny pictures of making some of the Russian Wargaming employees sit with the American flag behind them, unbeknownst to them, and taking their pictures.
All right, looks like battle number 1 is about to get ready underway here. Now it's going to be Pub Stars versus Red Hot Chili Peppers. And these two teams, Pub Stars, pretty much a proven team, unfortunately had to drop out from Season 1, but they're back again for Season 2 with a roster change. Red Hot Chili Peppers, really no idea who these guys are. We're going to find out. Let's go ahead and jump into battle number 1 on Mines. Here we are to the south side. It is the red team, and I have a feeling the red team is Pub Stars.
You are correct.
All right, and to the north we have the blue team, and that is Red Hot Chili Peppers. We're following Marsh 166 in the AMX 1390. Got 2 of those light tanks heading to the water side. What have we seen from the blue team?
Blue team is spreading out a little bit. They got 2 5100s, a T-32, 2 T-69s, and they're sending both of those 69s over to what we call the island, the 1 line, trying to establish some sort of crossfire and anything that approaches that hill, it looks like to me.
Go ahead and look at the tank selection real quickly. 3 T-69s, 1 AMX 1390, WZ-132, and the 2 T-1s for the Pub Stars. And for the other side, Red Hot Chili Peppers, 2 AMX 5100s, a T-32, 2 T-69s, and a T-1. Shots fired from Marsh 166. Nothing lands against that T-69. 8.8 patch has been released, which brought some changes to the heat rounds, particularly to the T-69s here on this map. Soviet, your thought on those changes?
The 69 becomes a very important and very skilled oriented tank. You have to make shots count. You have to aim very well, and you cannot just play it like you used to be able to, just spam shots away and make sure that it does damage. So 69, very important now.
Now, it's, I don't want to say unfortunate, but it keeps every player on their toes because of those changes. But some people were saying theory crafting, maybe we'll see some different tanks that are used, maybe some from the German line. However, we're pretty much seeing the same tanks that have been used in the 7x42 format. Now, the Pershing is one of the most intriguing tanks to me that's been used continuously from a number of different teams from Season 1 and also in the qualifiers for Season 2. I'm actually really close to unlocking that tank in my personal account. Looking forward to playing it more and more. and I'm Soviet. I know, I'll get to the IS-3. It's on my list. I'll get to it.
Simply the best tank in the game.
So just some positional play on the hill here. We have Captain Nopads, the WZ-132. The T1s spread out a little bit across the map for the red team. Still able to spot turret range that T-69. But Nagatron, seems like the blue team's pretty much holding their position as well, especially with the AMX 5100s.
All right, so a little breakdown here. They were originally kind of setting up for more of a defensive posture, which makes a lot of sense given the fact that Pubstars over here have 369s. So they're going to be loaded before the 5100s are. If they tried to meet them in the middle, they likely would not have won that engagement. So they stayed back, whether that was original plan or not, I'm not sure. They took the 69s to the island, trying to get a little bit of view range there. I'm not too sure about putting both of them there, but that's what they did, and they have been spotted. So now Pubstars knows that there's at the very least one 69 there. Marsh in his 1390 is spotted, trying to, looks like, clear out the island a little bit, and he's taken some shots.
Yeah, he did take some damage, but Scorpion King got traded some damage himself along with turret rate. And that HP pool difference could mean something later in the game here. But Marsh 166 turning his tank around, trying to aim a little bit closer, or at least get a little bit closer to be able to land another shot here. Miserable in that T1 still able to spot for him, but those rocks are going to hold out for those T69s. Marsh trying to indicate to his team, hey, get this target, see if we can get some fire on him, but Turret Rage is not taking the bait.
Right now, Pubstars has all of the control of this battle in the palm of their hands. They own more of the map. They own the most important part, the center at the top of the hill. You don't always have to have that, but you have to have either that or the island, and they kind of do have control of the island, given the fact that they can spot it and fire on it. So I think it's only a matter of time now. Pubstars is going to work side to side and find a way of taking out these T-69s without taking too much damage in return, and shortly after that, they'll be able to swoop in, clear out A4 and the rest of blue team here.
Set of Isoneers were taken out by Marsh 166, taking out Athalis 85 with a well-timed shot, moving out just in time to get away from the fire, blind fire, moving into those bushes. He's going to be moving back and forth. Bit of a point man against that water side. As Miserable in the T1 still holding down by the bushes to scout any movement from the lighthouse. No eastern push whatsoever from either team to try to counterbalance or counter really the water side, and still controlling that hill. Like you said, David, it's pretty much in the palm of Pubstar's hands here, but they're waiting for a bigger opportunity, and that could be if Red Hot Chili Peppers decides to push in on any direction. They have the map control. They have pretty much 2/3 of the map moving from the hillside in the very center of the map to the water side, to the west, and then to the east side pushing into the village. But they're indicating on the east side here if one of the light tanks, one of the T1s maybe, Yankee, he is going to go into that eastern village and see if he can spot any tanks.
So the goal here is not only to just spot tanks, but to deductive reasoning figure out where they are or where they aren't. So moving up that T1 is going to purchase them even more of this map here. As soon after that, they're going to know that the only other places for these heavies to be, the 32 and both those 5100s, are directly underneath the hill where the 32 is, and up there at A4 where there are still two 5100s sitting there, and those will be kind of difficult to handle, but given how easy they are to penetrate and how large they are, there actually isn't a whole lot of cover for them to hide behind once they're spotted, and they will be spotted. So, quite frankly, blue team has to make a move here. Red Hot Chili Peppers, that is. They have to make a move here, or they're really just resting their fate in Pubstar's hands. Pubstars should probably have made some solid moves by now, but I think they're still kind of trying to feel out what RHCP is up to, and maybe hope to capitalize on some sort of mistake they see.
Yeah, and they have to capitalize very, very quickly. But Marsh 166 and the moving AMX 1390 scouting a little bit farther ahead as the T-69s, Rella and Zevin, trying to set up any type of positional play and shooting through those corners and either backing up or using those houses as cover. Nothing spotted, though, to the north. And Marsh 166, again traveling around in that 1390, allowing the T-69s to move in closer. Slowly but surely, they're going to get closer and closer. 3 minutes and 28 seconds left on the clock. And there's one of the tanks that's spotted. El Nandito in the 5100. Shots fired from Rella, but nothing is able to hit. Zevin trying to move in to take a shot himself, but El Nandito has moved behind cover. Nothing landing from the T-69s. There's two hits that land, at least one of them. 1152 at a 1400 HP at El Nandito. El Nandito trying to figure out where the shots are coming from, and the T-69s are going to have to reload.
That's exactly what I'm talking about there. He does have a lot of rock to hide behind, but he's so big and he's so easily penetrated. Even the slightest corner of his turret or hull sticking out from any point, and he's going to get penetrated. Right now, Pubstars doesn't necessarily have to rush them, but they are running out of time, so they do need to step this up. Reminder, there is no 8-point rule, so they cannot just kill one of these 5100s and get a move on.
Yes, that is very, very true, and the rules have been posted for the teams. And to verify if there is a draw, we'll move on to the next map. At the end of 5 maps, if there's no declared winner, we go into a shootout. But El Don Tito taking even more damage, 438 of 1400. Couple shots from Marsh, 166 on that flank, but another one from Rella. 27 hit points left for El Don Tito. One shot, he goes down from Rella. Rella in the T-69 is going to reposition as he reloads, as Zevin is going to cover his movement, and Marsh, 166, may push a little bit closer. One of the heavy tanks, the AMX 5100, is in the center against Captain No Pants, but Lewis Netta taking some shots from the 5100, from the 1390, excuse me, as Rella tries to reposition behind this house. Yankee, however, in the T1 does go down.
RHCP bringing in both their 69s from the islands here, trying to move into the center. I think they're going to try and push up over the middle, which is quite frankly their best option now. Once you started to lose tanks, sitting around and waiting is not in your favor. You really need to get a move on and start trying to win some ground back.
T-69, or excuse me, T-32 taking some fire from Captain No Pants, so nothing landed from his WC-132. Scorpion King and Torrent Rage and T-69s moving up to the hill. Captain No Pants may be in some trouble if they do fully commit. However, the tanks that are trying to commit, the T-32 and T-69s, are taking some serious damage. The T-32 trying to block the shots against the T-69 from Marsh and Rella, but Marsh, Rella, and Zevin have fully committed around this corner. However, Zevin is taking a little bit of damage. Marsh, 166, gets a kill against Scorpion King, but Barcode T-32 is destroyed by Zevin as the 5100 takes down the 1390. 1 minute left on the clock as we have 3 Tier 8s and 1 Tier 1 up against the same lineup. T-32 taking some more damage. T-69 goes down from Captain No Pants in WZ-132. And now the T-32 with 595 HP trying to lock down any damage against that WZ-132. It's a 708 versus 595 hit point battle. That WZ-132 is way more mobile than the T-32, trying to get to the side and do some damage against his turret. Independent, the T-69, loading it up with one more shot. And does he take it? Oh, he gets hit himself, but he gets the kill against the T-32. 22 seconds left on the clock, David. I'm not sure they're able to get this. 5100 still left alive here.
There just is not enough time for them to get over there and take out a 5100 unless this 5100 comes to them and they're loaded, but I'm pretty sure both these 69s, or at the very least one of these 69s, is clipping, and there just, quite frankly, isn't enough time to finish this. Oh, wait. No Pants came in, and a beautiful finish.
1 second left on the clock, and Pubstars is able to take battle number 1. Welcome back to WGLNA Season 2 Qualifier number 2. This is the last week of qualifiers. We will find out who will be the last team to join us in league play starting in October. $100,000 prize pool is on the line, and of course the bragging rights to be the best in North America. 2 of the best in North America are joining me this evening, Nagatron and Soviet. We just saw battle number 1 of Pubstars versus Red Hot Chili Peppers. Pubstars was able to take it, and possibly battle number 2 is going to be on Ruinberg. Now, this is a map that has had some draw history in the past, but actually we've seen a bit of a flip from that. Not as many draws, maybe because the teams have come up with some different strategies, but also some better kind of counter strategy positions. Like they think, oh, they're going to take the Delta Village, let's go to the Delta Village, but they're not there, and they go through the city. A lot of different mind games, I think.
This map is definitely boiling down to meta very quickly. Obviously, if you spawn in the south, one of your best options is to cap fast on the north. If you spawn in the north, trying to cap fast in the south is often a terrible idea. We've tried it. It didn't work out. It doesn't work out for pretty much anybody. So a lot of this boils down to, are you going to take the city or are you going to go Delta Village?
Well, let's find out. Let's go ahead and jump into battle number 2 on Ruinberg.
All right, so over here on Red Hot Chili Peppers, we've got 3s, a T-69, and a WZ-132, and it looks like they are going to the field as quickly as possible here. That's not a bad lineup for it, but those IS-3s are definitely going to have to make some sort of contact very quickly if they want to tie this up.
Well, they're going to have to be quick, swift, and execute properly. As Soviet was talking about earlier, it's all about that execution when it comes to teams. Before the broadcast started, always picking the brain of any professional is part of my job to bring you guys a story here. And Miserable is trying to bring a story himself of where is the blue team. That's the story he's trying to tell the rest of his teammates. And we're seeing more of that city play from Pubstars as Miserable does take the lead here as the point man. One of the IS-3s is spotted halfway through on that E5 line. Is that a good position, David, or could he be caught pretty much with his pants down if there was a side?
Well, where both of these IS-3s are for Red Hot Chili Peppers, because there's actually 2 of them right there, is a pretty terrible position. The only thing they have backing them up is a WZ-132, which over that distance is probably not going to do a whole lot of damage. Going back to what I was mentioning earlier about tying it up, obviously there's an equal number of tanks on there right now, but Pubstars has both more hit points and more firepower overall. Red Hot Chili Peppers has, I guess, a slight mobility advantage, but we're talking incredibly slight. So right now, Pubstars has all of the game in their hands, provided they're able to force a contact, force a fight as quickly as possible without taking a lot of unnecessary damage on the way to it. Just taking out trading T1s.
Yep.
Actually, over there in the
Caught him on
line.
fire. Caught him on fire at the very end, so he took him down with him. He said, "I'll see you in hell." There he went.
So both teams equally blind here, but I'm pretty sure Pubstars knows exactly where RHCP is. RHCP knows where Pubstars are, and it's just going to boil down to basic maneuvering at this point. One in the field, one in the city. It's a pretty classic standoff.
Yeah, Marsh 166 in that 1390, trying to see if he can see. Oh, he's able to scout a bit of the IS-3, at least pushing in from the radio contact with the rest of his tanks, but no shots fired from the 1390. Not the most accurate tank from a distance, but able to cover the field pretty quickly with that mobility. And the rest of the tanks on his team got 2 IS-3s and 2 5100s. For Red Hot Chili Peppers, a 5100, 2 IS-3s, 1 T-69, and a WZ-132. But more of the mobility of the T-69 and WZ-132. WZ-132 is chosen, some say, to counter the 1390 because of its better accuracy on the move, and also not an autoloader. Now, there is advantages and disadvantages to playing an autoloader. Sure, Soviet would say there's more advantages than disadvantages, but that reload really is one of the biggest disadvantages. What do you think about having an autoloader on this map?
The 1390 brings mobility, and it brings a lot of spike damage off a flank. The WZ-132 is a safe choice. It's a safe choice because you don't have to worry about making each shot count, and you don't have to worry about being reloading without shots and out of position. So WZ-132 is brought by a lot of teams that don't feel that they can trust the autoloader in the 1390. They don't feel like they can make every shot count. So it really comes down to the strategy, but 1390 over WZ-132 in my opinion.
Both these IS-3s for Red Hot Chili Peppers are moving down the E road now, or F road. I've got to say, I don't think this is a good idea given the last position I saw from the 1390 on Pubstars, which was sitting there, what I like to call the spokes, the corner there at F1. He can see down all those roads, keep solid tabs on wherever they're going, and I do believe they still know where these IS-3s are. Clutch, you can see that.
Nothing spotted, but they're still pinging the map, saying, okay, F road's going to be a possible choice for them to come down, but want to keep their eyes open for any possible pressure on the flag that could disrupt the defensive positional play of Independent and the rest of the IS-3s, but nothing really pushing in yet. More of a map spread from the blue team, though, as they've taken a little bit of an eastern position, and moving to the south is one of the light tanks. But still holding down is going to be 5 minutes and 33 seconds left on the map, and the only thing that has been killed are those 2 T1s. Nothing pushing into the north yet. Now Scorpion King, the WZ-132, Lewis Nenda have been spotted. Independent, the IS-3, a nice hit against Lewis. And he falls back into this cubbyhole position. Another shot fired again, but it looks like it did not hit. El Dondito in the IS-3 trying to cover his WZ-132 friend, but not really successful. Rella and his IS-3 coming around the side, trying to line up a shot in the WZ-132. It is a miss, but another hit on Lewis from Independent, most likely. Yep, trying to line up another shot here, 180 of the 1050. However, no joy for the kill yet, as he does fall away into the bushes and into the fog of war. Not spotted on the map anymore, but that was a really, really solid play from Pubstars to diminish that HP pool.
I gotta say, we're seeing some pretty fantastic play of an IS-3 out of Independent, that reverse angling in a sense where he's all the way turned around, pulling out technically forward. He's actually very, very, very hard to damage in that formation. So they really have Red Hot Chili Peppers locked into this position they're in, and Red Hot is still not super interested in bringing the rest of their tanks out of the village. I'm not quite sure what they think they're going to do here. The WZ-132 is only at 180 hit points, so they're definitely not going to create some sort of fight. I guess they're just going to wait and see if maybe they can capitalize on a mistake. Actually, we're getting some pings here. The 5169 are now finally rolling out to the B line, and they're going to come in over the top. I don't think this is actually going to work, given the last known positions of pub stars from their perspective, but it's certainly better than sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, and trying to play 2 or 3 more steps ahead of your enemy is what they could possibly be doing, but they're a little bit more cautious in this play. Scorpion King, however, does see Rella gets a shot, but himself taking some damage. Lewis and Nenda taking some hits. Here is the trigger that's pulled as Marsh 166 and the 1390 is ready to unload. On the side, armor of both of these IS-3s continually moving, not even stopping as the WZ-132 tries to pull back. Marsh 166 says, no, see you later. And the rest of Pub Stars are cleaning up that F road. Only one AMX 5100 still left alive, a 1T69. He's taking some hits himself. Marsh 166, beautiful play by that 1390, using that mobility.
A little bit late here for Red Hot Chili Peppers. Torrent Rage, and I guess you were calling him Barcode, showed up on the flank just after their teammates went down. That may have actually worked had they caught it at the right moment, but they didn't, and now it's basically just an exercise in cleanup from Pub Stars, putting up both cap pressure and the majority of their tanks trying to win this in 2 different ways at once.
Marsh 166 covering the retreat, getting the flanks on those tanks for the blue team. Beautiful play by this 1390. Very impressed by his positional movement. And again, moving on the fly, but so close in the 1390 that he could shoot and almost, not miss. The accuracy for the 1390 on the move is not the best. The closer you are, the easier it is to hit. 32 seconds left for the capture. Only one tank still left alive, that T1. With 2 minutes and 19 seconds left on the clock, it's just a matter of time before Pub Stars takes the next game. I would have to throw it over to Soviet after the game is over to see if there's any type of difference when it came to Red Hot Chili Peppers with their position, or if the F-road was completely locked down by Pub Stars that led to their victory. And the victory is secured as the blue base has been captured by the red team. Pub Stars able to take battle number 2 in this best of 5 series against Red Hot Chili Peppers. I have to say, even though I'm a fan of the WZ-132, that 1390 with that spike damage was able to completely unload at the right time against those IS-3s. Your thoughts?
Almost always, the 1390 is a better choice than the WZ-132. There are very few instances in which the WZ, or the Wheezy as it's called around the actual pro circuit, there's very few instances in which it excels over a 1390, and that's pretty much only when the 1390 isn't loaded. So if you've given the 1390 time to load it all, it's you're already in a mismatch.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of that timing thing, right? I mean, as a 1390, if you unload 2 or 3 shots from far away, one of them lands, and your team's like, hey, let's move in, do you tell your team, wait, let me reload, or do you go in with those 4 shots?
That's an interesting question, and it really depends on the circumstances at that point in time. If that 1390 has gotten off all 3 shots on an important target and all of them penned for damage, you don't necessarily need to reload in that instance. If he's spread it over several different tanks, then he's essentially hasn't really contributed enough, and you should reload unless there is just a moment that you can jump on and get an advantage right then and there. But if that's the case, it probably does not involve said 1390 anyways.
Well, Marsh 166 definitely had the advantage. Soviet, what did you see in that last bout?
Well, Red Hot Chili Peppers goes on into the Delta Village quite heavily, and they take it. They take the green side of the map, and they control pretty much this entire quarter of the map. Now, they do have some lights here to see if they're being capped out or if, Pub Stars are going to be pushing in from the fountain here into the enemy base. One thing that I was surprised was Red Hot Chili Peppers are in great position. They have good map control. They have about half of the map, but they decide to rotate and take Pub Stars in a very good defensive position at the fountain. What I would have done in their place would take more control of the green line, the 0 line, and push into the cap of Pop Stars and make them come back to their base.
I was feeling the same thing too as I saw. We were talking about the Delta Village. It's about two or three tanks that were there, but they decided on the F-Road play. And again, that F-Road, yeah, it's nice if you can control it, but if you don't, you have a whole section of the map where they can't see you that you could push to the south.
General rule of thumb for city play, especially on maps like Ruinberg, is you don't push down a road unless you're going to get all the way through it, or unless you have something that can help you. If you're going to get caught in the middle, you're stuck. That's that simple. I think Soviet was dead on. Once you recognize that pub stars were in the city, then it's time to find out how many, if any, of them are in the field, so you can take back that control. And perhaps maybe you catch a tank. Maybe they split right off the bat and they're trying to get you from two different sides. If that's the case, you now have a 5, 4, 3-on-2, something along those lines. You know where some are. Now find out where the rest are or are not and play from there.
And going back to the ending of the game, we saw that last T1 there in Delta Village. He kind of stayed there. What he could have done is he could have pushed down the zero line. I know they already lost one light, but they got a lot of intelligence out of it. They saw that pop stars were centered around the city here at the fountain, and they could have kept going into the zero line, put the T1 somewhere at the Fulcrum compound, by the way, nicely named.
Yes.
And get the eyes on the base and then work down the 5 line with their IS-3s. So, unfortunate call there. Mistimed as well. Very mistimed. The 5100 and the T69 pull out of the Delta Village, go back towards their base, and that gives Pop Stars lots of isolation on those IS-3s that were in a decent position. They could have, made it out if they had support, but no support there. The IS-3s go down, and that's pretty much game for Pop Stars. Pop Stars go up 2-0.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. The series is not over yet, though. Pub Stars has to win one more battle. Or could this be the comeback that Red Hot Chili Peppers needs? We're going to find out as we take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Season 2 qualifier number 2 of WGLNA continues after this. Welcome back to WGLNA Season 2 qualifier number 2. I'm Clutch, joined by Fulcrum Gaming's Nagatron and Soviet tonight. Very special night. We're going to have a lot of fun this weekend, so stay tuned for some awesome segments through Season 2 League play. We got a lot of fun things planned. This next map, gentlemen, is going to be Cliff. We talked about it at the beginning of the night. This is the first time it's appeared in the American scene for the pro scene, the 7x42 format at least. And last time I've played it was a couple days ago in pubs, and that's a really kind of a different play style compared to 7x42. Soviet, can you just, again, kind of give us a summary of this map, how it works?
Sure. Even in pubs, though, there are some trends on this map that you can see and will most likely see here in the 742 format. The 1-2 line is usually pinned down by TDs in regular games.
Yep.
Here, you might want to establish some early eyes with a T1. Look down the line, see if there's an aggressive push from the enemy team. The rest of the action is most likely going to happen around the area that we call the donut, the middle map, the middle mound there, that is usually dominated by light tanks in regular games. And the other section of the map is here in the E6 area where the ridge from the lighthouse comes in and can be used for awesome hull-down positions for the 69s.
All right, well, let's see what kind of tanks they're going to bring in. But first, we have a quick little map intro of Cliff. Let's go ahead and take a look for battle number 3 of Pub Stars versus Red Hot Chili Peppers. Here we go, spawning to the north, the red team. It is Pub Stars, and to the south, spawning as the blue team. It is Red Hot Chili Peppers. Pub Stars is up 2-0. And what do we see for tank selection here, David?
Well, we've got 2 5100s and 3 T69s for Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think the 5100s are probably the wrong choice. I'd probably go with 1390s here since you need the mobility and you certainly need the smaller silhouette. But they are making a good move here. They've got 2 369s crawling up as this little ramp over here at F2. This is something we see a lot in the Russian League. Definitely excited to see people doing it here. It's a very, very powerful thing, and I'm not sure if Pub Stars knows about it. They certainly don't have a T1 that can spot this, so it may catch them by surprise, but a lot of damage has already been done to El Nandito trying to come up. that is exactly what I'm talking about. The 5100 is just too big and just too slow to get there safely.
Marsh 166 and that 1390 again, locking down that T1, taking out the eyes and ears. The spread for the red team, they have their heavy tank way to the back in that 5100, Captain No Pants, but the Pershing from Jamaria is able to try to lock in a shot. Didn't know if it landed or not. But Wick is able to see Scorpion King in that T69. From the Lowell Tractor, shots being fired from way downtown, the 5100, Captain No Pants. Still way far away, but trying to get those Hail Marys from the complete north side of the map here. As anything tries to poke out between those rocks, or the donut, as it's called.
So Torrent Rage has finally made his way up to the top here. Scorpion King took some damage from the Pershing of Pubstars, and as we can see all the way over here, El Nandito is, I think he's taken one more shot from where he was before, but I'm not 100% certain on that. He's definitely not coming out from behind a house anytime soon. Again, the power has gone to Pubstars right off the bat with some early damage, early position, early spots, but RHCP has a solid chance to come back if they utilize the donut properly.
Independent, the T69 able to scout the 5100. Barcode moving back away as Independent. Does he commit to the top of the mountain? He could, but he could leave his right flank completely exposed from any fire coming from that side. However, it's completely covered by his team, so he should be okay. But he's going to lie in wait behind this bush and still wait it out for anything else to be spotted. As Red Paradise in the 1390 is covering the south side, right behind this tank. And will he commit? 1390 going across. Can he fit right past the T69? It is a smaller tank, but no, looks like they're just going to hold down here and wait for any positional movement from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, the high ground's usually the best ground, but not really in the T69. Gun depression, it's okay, but the gun elevation is not the best.
A lot of pinging going on here from Red Hot Chili Peppers as their commander is trying to, I guess, discuss different positions and how to move. Their best option here is to swing these T69s across the southern part of the mountain they're hiding behind, relinking them up firing lane-wise with the 5100, get Barcode to maybe poke up and spot something. That'll help negate the position that Pershing had last time they saw him, and that's really some of the only intel they have, is they've seen one 5100 and a Pershing, and everybody else is just kind of missing. But given the positions they're in right now, they've got to make something move, or they've got to make a move before these 1390s from Pubstars find a way around them and start ripping them up when there's nothing they can do about it.
Miserable taking the lead with the two 1390s right behind him, Red Paradise and Marsh 166. That T1 trying to get closer and closer to scout some of the enemy as some shots are going to be fired towards that Barcode 5100. And here's the flank moving in, the two 1390s along with Miserable. Just coming around the bend here, taking down some trees is the T1, but there's a T69 from Torrent Range as he is spotted along with the rest of the blue team. El Dondito caught with his pants down as he takes out the T1, but Marsh 166 cleans him up with Red Paradise, and they're going to continue their volley, but however, Barcode in the 5100 takes down the 1390. Red Paradise still unloading, and the rest of the red team will try to get that flank against Barcode.
That was a very successful maneuver there by Pubstars, especially leading with the T1, helped prevent them from taking any unnecessary damage. They can uncover any sort of major shift before they actually step on top of it. They got more than their money's worth by taking out both of their 5100s for one 1390. Now all they have to do is clip, make another positional move, and then they will dust out these 69s, and this game will be over.
Jermarian, the Pershing, does not have to reload, continuing that pressure right around that corner against those T69s, waiting for the rest of his teammates to have full drums, as Independent in his T69 did take some damage, has about 65% health left, 856 out of 1350. He's going to take the northern approach across that rock up on the donut. This will be the last stand for Red Hot Chili Peppers. They have 3 T69s still left on the field along with 1 T1, and that T1 is all the way to the north side. Could he put some pressure up against the red team? Not sure though. Independent trying to get some shots against TA. Captain No Pants gets some hits against the other T69. Captain No Pants lands another hit against the other T69, takes him out. Torrent Range, the only one left alive as they try to get the surround against the remaining tank here. And this will be easy pickings for the red team as only one T1 is still left alive and they are on the hunt.
Well, he is just stepping on cap right now, so there is no longer any question where he is. He's got to be in A3. It's only going to be a couple seconds here until I'm sure Pubstars has somebody both go to cap and they send somebody back to defend their cap, making sure that they win both ways, which is always, always, always the best thing you can do.
Yeah. And trying to lock in against that T1, we have 3 of the tier 8s on the chase now. Pup Star is going to be happy about this victory, a 3-0 sweep, as they will move on in the bracket. This is a single elimination bracket, which means that Red Hot Chili Peppers will be out, and they will have to try again in season number 3. And here comes the final push. Captain No Pants Jeremiah shooting themselves, really, in kind of a celebration. But here comes the Pershing Jeremiah. Is he to land up the shot? No. He's going to maybe let his buddy take it, or going to go for the ramming
I predict
damage.
a ram. It's pretty much a standard protocol. When you have the ability, you go for the ram.
And there he goes.
And No Pants rams himself to finish it off. Dogpile on Jeremiah.
Victory to Pup Stars as they take a swift 3-0 series against Red Hot Chili Peppers. Congratulations. We do want to say thank you to Red Hot Chili Peppers for participating